Hey, everybody, and welcome to John Talks Indian Cinema. I am your host, the Indian Cine-MANIAC, back with another 10ish-minute review. Now, the next film I'm going to review, and I actually spelled the name wrong when I wrote it down. I've since corrected it, but I'm not sure who recommended this, but someone did recommend this, and I apologize for not knowing who it was. But the film I'm going to review is 2003's Gangaajal. Gangaajal. I hope that's how you pronounce it. And I also know that that's water of the sacred river Ganga, where people go to cleanse their sins, which plays a big role in this film. This was a another thing that I knew nothing about, that after watching the film and realizing this is based on real events, which is mind-boggling to me. But it's true. It was directed by Prakash Jha. It stars one of my favorite actors, Ajay Devgn, who I've seen in a ton of stuff. Singham. I'm so excited about Singham again. I cannot wait for that. Drishyam 1 and 2. I can't even how many movies. I don't know how many movies I've seen of him, but he's one of my favorites. Gracy Singh, who was in Lagaan and Munna Bhai MBBS. Mohan Joshi, Yashpal Sharon, who was in Lagaan and Gangs of Wasseypur. All these guys that look like hoodlums, man, were all in Gangs of Wasseypur. And Mukesh Tiwari. So this story is based on a true event that happened in Bhagalpur. In fact, it's called the Bhagalpur Blindings of 1979-1980, which was the cops overrun with crime in order to lower the crime rate, started blinding suspects, not even convicted suspects. And there were 30 that were blinded, which, I mean, in fact, the Indian Supreme Court ordered compensation, as that was a human rights violation. In fact, I also watched, after I watched this, it's a very short one. I'll put it below the description, but it's a documentary, The Eyes of Darkness. It's just it's just awful. But they tried to play both sides of this, which I did appreciate, because the cops in this film were corrupt. Except for his character. But even his character in the end did some things that I wouldn't say were corrupt, but not probably something he wouldn't have done at the beginning of this movie, because he changed. So the story basically is, it starts off with this character, Amit, who is being transferred to an area that is ridden with crime, and the cops are all on the take. So he's going to try to clean it up. And his boss is corrupt. And the town is run by this bad guy. His name was Shadu, and his son, Sunder, who are just awful. But they're bribing everybody, and they pretty much run the town. So he's coming in, he's trying to clean it up. And at one point, in fact, in the opening, he hits a roadblock. He's on a bus and he's at a roadblock. And they don't know he's a cop. And they roust him, and they're going to slap him around. He's got to pay a fine, all this stuff. Now they find out who he really is. And he ends up firing that guy, who in turn ends up actually being on Amit's side. He's got a wife that's very supportive of him. And what else? A cop gets stabbed. Pretty graphic, too. There's an exploding tomato cart. I'm not giving you the whole story. I'm just telling you what happened in this movie. There's one song going on and this is something you don't see very often, although for an Indian film, it was graphic. But they really didn't show anything. But at one point, a woman's getting raped, and they're going one of the big dance numbers at the bad guy's place. They've got a woman dancing, kind of like a belly dancer. while he's raping this girl in a back room. Um, and then there's a scene where there's a bad cop who's on the take who Ajay's character gets him to go straight. And one of the first thing he does, they get all these prisoners in the cell. He goes out to a car and gets battery acid. And it was, I mean, the way they did it, that he's got a glass with this, it almost looks green, and he pours it, and they do it from POV from below, and you see the stuff come down, and then you see it poured, and it was awful. And I guess this is what they did. They used battery acid to blind them in the real story. Um, and the other thing that happened was because there that that thing that they did lowered the crime rate, the village or the town, wherever they are all behind it. And they don't have any problem with it. And I was looking at the reviews, and the reviews are all police are corrupt and it's police abuse and all this other stuff. And absolutely true. But the people who were there appreciated the fact that the crime went way down. Now, obviously, that's not the way you want to do it, but that was an interesting dynamic of the film because they were backing up these guys while they including Amit's character who's trying to get to the bottom of it. He doesn't know who did this, but he's trying to find out because that's not the way he wants to do it. Um, oh yeah, there's this one. This is how bad the guy was too. The bad guy, the son, Sunder, comes out and puts a bullet through an eye of a wife and son. Excuse me, of a wife as the son is watching from up above. Just an awful, awful scene. Um, and then there's one scene where Amit goes undercover. Now, Ajay Devgn has a very distinct look to him. Okay. But in this scene, he wears a fez and glasses that had big, thick lens. That was his disguise, and nobody knew who he was. I thought that was kind of funny. Um, he gets suspended because everyone's on the take, and the village support him. And then a girl that Sunder wanted to marry is going to marry someone else, goes to the wedding, kills the mother, and I think killed the groom. And then the bride, who he loves, shoots herself, which was awful. I mean, it was violent film. So then he finally gets a hold of the two bad guys, the father and the son, and everyone wants them dead. And there's this fantastic scene. And I don't know when his career started, Ajay Devgan. So this is 2003. So I'm sure he'd been around for a while. But again, I've only seen him in contemporary stuff in Golmaal, which I hated. But he does this impassioned speech, right? I don't know exactly where it was, but there's stairs in this monument or something. And the whole crowd, it would look like a zombie film, are surrounding him and the two guys. And they want to kill these two guys. In fact, they want to pour battery acid on these two guys. And he does this impassioned speech about why he doesn't want them to do that. And they want to know why are you saving him? He goes, I'm not saving them. I'm saving you from doing something that you'll regret later on. It was a great scene, great monologue, great dialogue to it, and he performed it really, really well. And then ultimately, the bad guys are the bad guys, and they get away while everyone's chasing them. And Ajay Devgan's character ends up fighting them and ends up killing both of them. And then what else happened? Yeah, well, the way he killed them, and this I really didn't understand. They're in somebody's house and they're fighting, and one of the guys, was it both? I think it might have been both. They fall on a table that had spikes sticking out of it. I don't know why that piece of furniture would be there, but that's how they both died. So the story, I'm going to give a 4 because I didn't know anything about this and it made me want to learn more about it. And it was an awful story too. I mean, it was good in one way because Ajay Devgan always plays these noble cops. And I'm sure he probably played a bad cop in some films, but the ones I've seen him in, he's always pretty noble, which tells me something about him that he wants to play these roles in a sea of corrupt cops. And they were corrupt. They didn't hide that. I think they had a little sympathy for them because of how bad the crime was. And some of them who were bad in the beginning end up good and they end up dying too. So again, the story I'm going to give a 4. The performances, I really liked all of the performances. Yeah, do I think the bad guys were a little over the top bad? Yeah, including the son especially. But I thought Ajay Devgn was great in this. He's just got this presence, and you believe a guy like that would be able to keep his principles amongst a sea of corrupt people. He's just got a presence to him, and that voice is fantastic. And there were a couple of action scenes where he gets to do what Ajay Devgn does in these films. So I give the performances a 4. Um, the music, um, I tell you this a lot. I thought the music was okay. The first song, and there wasn't a lot of like musical numbers. Okay, there really wasn't. There was one where the bad guys, with that dancer I was telling you about, and my youth is out of this world, and she's dancing, and the second song was after they kidnapped Sundar from court. So he's going to court, and they're, all the corrupt people are going to get him out. Well, Amit's character kidnaps him, and the song is "Our Senior Officer Blew Him to Pieces." So, spot on. But the thing about the music was no gratuitous musical numbers, which I always appreciate. And the incidental music didn't stand out for me. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. And whenever I feel that way, I give it a 3. So the music, I give a 3. Now, my verdict on the film, again, because I knew nothing about this, and I want to learn more. I'm going down a rabbit hole to learn more about it. It just sounds so awful. And I don't know. I mean, I know what some of the repercussions were, but was there a huge backlash from the people of India or that village when this was found out? I'd be curious to know what you guys know about it, and let me know in the comment section. But my verdict, I'm going to give it a 4. I enjoyed it, and it really it kept me into it, and I really wanted to know how he was going to come out on top when everything was working against him. Yeah, I enjoyed this film. And I don't think there's hasn't been a lot of Ajay Devgn films that I haven't liked. He's just he's like Akshay Kumar, right? He's just solid and always does good work. I believe that. I don't think he's like the best actor out of the bunch, compared to some of them. But I enjoy his stuff. And again, I'm looking so forward to Singham again. But anyway, that's my review of Gangaajal from 2003. So let me know what you guys think. Again, important, subscribe, hit the notification. Really important, hit the like button. I'm getting 50 or 60 views and 7 likes. So I need you to, even if you don't watch the whole thing, like it, lie to me, okay? I don't care. It's the only way I can build the channel. YouTube will not push this out unless I get a lot of comments, unless I get a lot of likes, or I load it up with content. And I'm loading it up as fast as I can, but it's going to take a while. So please help me out. I would really, really appreciate it. And those of you that have sticking around and you comment and you watch every show, I want you to know how much I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It really does. I want to give you a heads up. I'm going to have a bunch of people from the old show, the YKY show. We're going to do Jaws for a Halloween show. It's going to be filmed towards the end of the month, but I'll get it once we film it. I'll get it out right away. But I'm really looking forward to that because that was a movie we couldn't talk about on the other show, but we're going to be able to now. And I think I know it's not an Indian film, but if you're a cinephile, you'll appreciate that film. I call some films perfect films. There's probably 5 I think are perfect films. Jaws is absolutely one of them. So I'm really looking forward to talking about that. Okay. Excuse me again. I don't know why I'm coughing so much. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you soon, very soon, with another 10ish-minute review on John Talks. Thanks a lot.